Okay, I'm back at my favorite window seat at the Fira in Barcelona. I'm pleased to say that the sun is out and no major damage sustained yesterday, so that's all good. And I'm at VMware Explore, or VMware by Broadcom Explore, at the Fira, as I say. So the big question, the opening question, is really about the money. And I thought it was really interesting that Hock Tan, the CEO of Broadcom, came out on stage this morning, and the very first thing he said was about the money. He said some people aren't happy with the increased costs, and then he kind of moved on. So he said a few bits about that, but then he kind of moved on. So it was he put the elephant well in the centre of the room. But it made me start to think that yes, sure, people are facing increased costs with VMware. They have less choice in the name of simplification, and so if you want an enterprise license, that's what you have to have for VCF, etc. Thank you, Andy Buss, for mentioning that. But ultimately, are we in a position where we can say that VMware by Broadcom is more expensive? And the reason I'm asking that is, as Joe Bagley said when he was introing the analyst questions later on, he said he'll sit down with CIOs and they'll say, we've got these issues. Apparently, it's going to be more expensive. And what he's been doing is turning the conversation into a value equation question, if I may, where it's sure, but what are you getting out of it? And that's very interesting. And he said, and this is obviously the VMware field sales CTO talking here, that it's then opens up a much more interesting and useful and positive conversation. So that's one thing that as a counterpoint. But I wonder if there's a third thing. So you've got either the first, which is it being all about cost. You've got the second, which is, no, it's about value. Maybe there's a third element here, which is it's about visibility. And what I mean by that is right now, it's really, really hard to know how much your IT spend is converting into IT usefulness. And I'm not talking about business value at that point. I'm talking about what are the workloads that you're running? What are you processing that is actual useful processing from a technical perspective? So we have the situation with the cloud, for example, where we've been spinning up more and more cloud services than we actually need. And thank you, Clive Howard, for mentioning that this aspect, Clive of CCS Insight, when we were discussing it later, that the CIOs are just hit with the bill. It's the people at lower levels that are saying, let's spin that up. It's only a couple of $100 here, a couple of $100 there, and they're innovating and they're creating things that may or may not be useful, but are sticking around for the longer term. And these things get buried in the bills, and it's for Wentz, thence FinOps, in order to get on top of the spiraling cloud costs. And I'm a bit of a doubter when it comes to the size of the cloud market growing and growing and growing, from the point of view that it's actually costs that you wouldn't necessarily want if you were thinking about technology strategically. So if you could put together a scenario, a corporate enterprise level scenario, where you actually said, okay, we want to run these workloads, we want to run, this is how much our website with all of its shopping experience is going to cost, this is the amount of processing we're actually going to need to run the website, this is how much processing we're going to need to do the back-end analytics, this is how much processing it's going to need to run all the AI that we're thinking about. So how much is that actually going to cost? What is the size of the workload, and what kind of ceiling are we going to put on those costs? and how can we keep on top of those costs? If you could draw a picture like that, as opposed to here's all the things that we are spending and we're trying to get our arms around it, then we'd be in a stronger position. And what we've got currently is we can't get our arms around all of the costs of IT, and therefore we're in a kind of rearguard action to make it more efficient. And so we've got a situation where cloud costs keep going up, and people are going, oh well, I suppose I better pay it then, or starting to feel more and more discomforted. And meanwhile, a company like Broadcom can come along and say, you're going to pay how much it's actually the license is costing to run, and people are kicking off about that, which strikes, it's a kind of imbalance that we've got these two sides of our brain operating in this, and really we should be getting more on top of what's the overall cost per processor cycle by workload that we're trying to run, and how much money are we prepared to put up in these different buckets, be it the public cloud, be it private cloud, be it on virtual machines, be it hosted applications, be it SaaS, etc., in order to deliver on that. So costed IT thought about strategically, rather than this rearguard action where we're suddenly finding costs that we weren't expecting. Either they're growing in a cloud way, or that we're suddenly hit with them and stung with them. Neither is good. Visibility is better.